the last year, and probably most years here in Nebraska, we're going to have various weather conditions that are going to break branches in our trees and shrubs and cause problems for us. What I'm going to look at today are a couple examples of how we might handle with a situation caused by wind or a heavy rain or even snow and ice damage that we'll see on here we're going to look at an evergreen, and then a little bit we're going to look at a small tree. One of the things we want to remember before we get started is to make sure we have some safety gear with us. We want to protect our hands with a good pair of gloves. There's a lot of different styles out there right now, lots of choices. We're always looking at new ones here on campus for our staff. The other thing is a pair of safety glasses. Once you get your head and start sticking it into a tree, it's very easy to get your eye poked, and then you're going to end up with a serious damage to your eye after that. The other thing to remember is to have good sharp tools. Another good reason to have a pair of gloves. I have got loppers here and a larger hand saw. You could also use a folding saw for this kind of work as well. The first tree we're going to look at is a Scotch pine. This tree has suffered some damage, probably both from snow load and also the high winds that we've had just recently. So as we look at a tree, and whatever tree you might have, any evergreen you might have, I always want to survey the whole tree, see how much damage has been done to the tree. Start with the smallest breaks first. I like to work from the outside in, remove the small breaks, and kind of continue to look at the tree and make sure that I'm not taking any or too much off of any one side. We're going to look at broken branches. What we want to do is cut below the break. With these branches here, you'll notice there's going to be some tearing of the wood. So we'll drop down and we'll select a point. Usually what I try to do is pick a branch that's growing outward versus inward to then lower my cut to that point. We want to make sure we remove all the dead out of the tree, that we remove any damaged wood out of the tree when we're doing this work, that we're careful not to over prune. I usually like to take it in stages, take it a little at a time. It's always difficult to glue the branch back on once you've removed it, so you want to take it just a step at a time. With a tree like this, you'll notice there's also some large branches out of here that have been damaged. If you don't have the proper tools to work above your head, which can be kind of dangerous, you want to make sure that you contact an arborist to come in and maybe do some of that higher work. It's always important to work within your abilities, your physical and also experience. When working with trees, you can get into a large branch that could actually hurt you as it comes down. Maybe it looks like it's something you can deal with, but it can cause problems for you. It's always also a good idea when working with trees to have a partner. Make sure they're staying outside of the work zone so they don't get injured, but also it helps you in clearing the branches out of the way so you can see what's going on. And also if you have any problems, there's someone there to help you as well. Here we are at our small deciduous tree, and we're looking at a Washington hawthorn that we're going to do some work to. Earlier I mentioned perhaps using a pole saw. Again, you're going to want to have the physical skills and a decent tool to be able to use in a tree like this. This is just a single length here. You can buy them. They have telescoping versions. And again, you want to kind of stay within your own physical abilities and experience in using a pole saw. I mentioned before having a partner with you. So we're going to work on this, and we're going to go through it systematically and remove the dead. We have two big broken branches in it caused by wind. We're going to remove this whole piece here, and we're going to start off taking the smaller pieces out and lowering it, and then lowering down to the main piece that we're going to remove, and take a look at the tree after that and see how we've come with that. Again, we want to make sure we're using our gloves, and in this case we want to get a hard hat out. Hard hats, they're fairly inexpensive. Again, it prevents you from ending up with an injury to the head, so it's always a good idea to have one of these. You probably use them for other things around the house as well. When we go through this and start doing our pruning with the hawthorn, we'll start up high, and as far as our pole saw will reach, and remove the smaller branches, lower those down. They're going to be fairly light, easy to cut. We're going to take out all the smaller wood with this. As we lower down, that's when we'll use the 3-cut method to remove the larger piece. That will help us prevent tearing the wood on that final removal of that limb. We've looked at pruning smaller trees that most of us can handle with our experience. When you're working on larger trees, you're probably going to want to consider contacting a certified arborist to take a look at that tree and either give you some ideas or do that work for you. It takes special tools and lots of experience to be able to do a nice job on a big tree. So why don't you give those folks a call?